Today I will do a video review of the Fairphone 5 phone, and I will file this under sustainability one step at a time. Why, you might wonder? And what is the Fairphone? Fairphone is a Dutch company that came into existence because they wanted to set an example on how Fairphones can be made in a more sustainable way. And one of the latest generations of the phones is the Fairphone 5. I live in the United States, and on my trip to Europe, I actually put in the effort and bought a phone from Europe to bring back to the United States. And so I have a couple of words to say about that, specifically how well the Fairphone 5 works in the United States, specifically on the T-Mobile network. First of all, I'd just like to cover what the Fairphone is. It's this phone is about the size of an iPhone 16 Pro, a little bit bigger actually, a little bit thicker, and in terms of what I will cover is why is this phone more sustainable. I will go over ergonomics, battery, storage, sound, pictures, and then I'll talk about some of the quirks as well as the functionality of the phone on the T-Mobile network. So first of all, so why is this phone sustainable? Some easy things. Packaging, of course, is made from recycled materials. When you buy the phone, it actually comes with nothing except for the phone itself and the battery. And the reason for this decision is that you can see in here they don't include a USB-C cable because they think that you probably have some laying around, and this is one way of how you can reduce waste. What makes the Fairphone, this specific Fairphone, very sustainable is the removable back here, which is made of recycled plastic, by the way. And when you take off the back, you can see that everything in here is user removable. There are screws everywhere, and the battery can be taken out. There's a spot for the SIM card that you can change, and then in here there's a place for memory, and then but you can most of these components are user replaceable, from the speaker system to the memory. You can put in your own memory up to 2 terabytes of RAM, and then also the phone system is user replaceable. So in the future, for example, if a better camera module comes out, you could theoretically just remove the old camera module and put in the new one. This would be completely impossible with any Samsung or iPhone. All right, so in terms of ergonomics, you probably have watched some other videos prior to coming to my video already from Linus, and he made a big deal about how thick and big and unergonomic this phone is. And I don't know, I find, at least for me, I find that it's kind of exaggerated. The way I'm holding the phone is like this, and I find that all the buttons that we need to use are in the right place. For example, the volume rocker buttons are in the right place, and very intuitive with the thumb here for my hands. And more importantly, you probably saw that earlier already, this phone has a fingerprint reader that's located on the side of the phone, and it works really quickly. So you can use that button to turn it off, and then you can see, like, as soon as I touch this, the phone opens up. You can see how rapid the phone turns on. Right? So in terms of ergonomic, how ergonomic this phone is, I find the thickness actually helps to grip the phone better in your hand. So I like it. Next, I want to talk about battery life. Yeah, so Samsung phones and iPhones will have better battery life than this phone. You're a light user, you can get through the day and still have about 20-30% left. If you use the phone a lot, you probably have to plug it in somewhere in between. But if you are a Fairphone user and you go through the effort of buying a phone from Europe and bringing it back, you're probably not a power user and play heavy games on here anyway. So that should be a problem. The other thing that I've shown earlier you could do only with this phone is you could buy two batteries actually. And what's faster than fast charging a phone? It's simply flipping out the old battery and putting in a new battery. And then you don't have any issues at all in terms of battery life. That's actually kind of nice. In my case, most of the time the phone is just plugged in, and whenever I go out on to see coworkers for some of my work, the phone is perfectly adequate because I can charge it in the car, can charge it pretty much everywhere I go. And nowadays, everyone probably has a spare battery laying around to charge up the phone when it's running low, right? One thing that I like that is not necessarily unique to this Fairphone, but a feature of Android is that you can go into the battery mode and you can turn on two features. One of them is Eco Charge, which charges the battery more slowly, which is maybe not what you want. But slower battery charges also reduce heat buildup in the battery, which helps to preserve your battery. And again, this is like one of the things that Fairphone is really trying to enable using your phone for as long as possible. One way they achieve this is by really treating the battery very gently with things like EcoCharge and battery protection. So you can turn this on, and I have, and the phone will never charge above 80%. And by doing so, you will lengthen the life of your battery. Next, I want to talk about storage. Since we're in this menu here already, you can see the phone comes, this specific version of the phone comes with 256 gigabytes of storage, phone internal storage. And you can see I've used barely a third of that available storage. Storage is a big strong point to this phone because in addition to the 256 gigabytes of storage, there's also an SD card that you can put in up to 2 terabytes. So there's a ton of space in this phone if you, especially if you add your own SD card, which are dirt cheap these days. You will basically never run out of space on this phone. And importantly is you can do all the work, which is virtually impossible with any Samsung or iPhone, because they have this business model where you're kind of locked into the phone memory that you when you buy the phone, right? You spend a lot of money up front, then get more memory. But with this phone, they give you a generous amount of storage, and then you can put in your own memory stick and always replace it. I have put in a 512 gigabyte SD card, and so this phone in total has over 700 gigabytes of storage, which basically, and you will never run out, because if you do need to run out, you can just replace the SD card. Super convenient and definitely one of the strong points of this phone. When it comes to sound, let me just play a couple of examples. So here's a video by Electric Viking.
Subsidized fossil fuels to the tune of around $700 billion US. Renewable energy received around $75 billion. That means
I won't play any videos of music because I don't want to run into any copyright infringements. You can hear the video, the sound is loud. It's okay. You won't win any like audiophile awards with this. If you want to have much better sound, you probably want to use your Bluetooth headset to get the real basses out. You know, again, some people complain about it, about how tinny this is, and I thought it would be really bad, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It produces sound, it's loud enough. Most of the time, I listen to it on a Bluetooth headset. Next topic I want to cover is the camera itself. I have noticed that the camera app is very responsive now. It wasn't that responsive when I first got the phone, but you can see here, up and it's going already. Pretty good. And actually, I haven't tested the phone since the update to Android 15, which just happened today. I'll mention that in the updates section a little bit downstream. But yeah, you can take pictures with this phone. It's responsive. The color profile is okay. I think Linus or some other people mentioned how bad the camera is. It's not that bad. Better than my Samsung S9 camera, which I had before. You won't win any awards with this, but if you're just an average user, you know, and you want to take pictures of your children, it's certainly capable of doing that. There are two cameras in here, as you can see, a normal camera and a wide angle camera. The third slot up here looks like a camera, but it's a time of flight sensor to help measure depth, to help focus the camera. And anyway, so when you go in here, you can actually adjust that by pressing down here. You can go 2x, wide angle. It has built-in 2x optical zoom, and the rest is digital zoom. And yeah, so I've taken lots of pictures when I was in Europe with this phone, and it is okay. Nothing compared to iPhones, of course, in terms of phone quality, picture quality, or the latest Samsungs, but they're not horrible pictures. They are average, okay pictures. Yeah. Now, let's go over how well this phone works in the United States. And I will have to say here, when I first got this phone, I was not very impressed by its range. I mean, I used it at home, and I had to like turn on Wi-Fi calling, and it just wouldn't work outside of the home. And then I discovered, oh, there's an option under let me go to the menu really quickly. I've removed the SIM card on this phone, but there's an option under network, and that option on my phone was off by default. The 4G network is off by default, and when I turned that on, the phone started working really well. I was so happy that the phone actually worked, but the option was off by default and I had to turn it on. Now, the reason why I mention this is, let's go to the antennas that are built into this European-made phone. Look at T-Mobile, this website, and we're looking at the bands that are supported on the Fairphone 5. You'll see that all of the 4G bands that are used in the United States are supported, but some of the bands in the 5G spectrum are not supported. Now let's have a quick comparison of the 4G bands supported by T-Mobile and the 4G and 5G bands that T-Mobile uses and that the phone supports. For the 4G network, remember 71.12.2.4.5, and you can pause this video to have a look at them. And then if you go over to the bands that the Fairphone supports, you'll see that 2, 4, 5, 12, and 71, they're all supported. Whereas if you go to the bands that are supported on the 5G network, 71, 41, 66, 258, and 60, if you go here, you can see that 71, 41, 66, those bands are all supported, but the bands in a millimeter wave spectrum, 258 and 260, this is a very North American thing. Those bands are not supported. And this is the reason why I think when I only used the 5G bands, the phone wasn't working very well. Especially if you move from one area to the next. Because I think if these bands are available and these bands are not, then these bands help with switching between towers. And if you don't have these bands available, you basically, you know, in an area where only these bands are available, then you're kind of out of luck. But the minute I turn on the 4G network as well, the phone could rely on the 4G network to receive signals. And that's why when I turn on the 4G network, this phone started working a lot better. So in summary, will this phone work in the United States? Yes, on the T-Mobile network. And you have to turn on the 4G network that it uses the 4G network. Otherwise, you'll run into some issues because 258 and 260 are not supported. So what are some other things that I like about this phone? Fairphone has promised that there would be updates, regular updates to the phone. And if you know what Samsung and iPhone have done, in the past they only supported the phone with security updates up to 3 years. That was kind of annoying. But Fairphone has promised updates to the phone up to 10 years. I think 5 years of operating system updates and another 5 years of security updates. And this has been a really pleasant thing. I've been receiving, it's not just words, these are being followed up on. I've been receiving updates every month and a half on average, little security patches. But you can probably see this in the icons already just today. As of July 30th, my phone updated itself from an Android 14 to an Android 15. And so, yeah, this now has Android 15 and all the features that come with it. And yeah, Fairphone has made good on the promise that they will keep this phone updated regularly up to 10 years. Well, whether they will do it for 10 years is outstanding, but up to this point, the phones are receiving regular updates, and it's always a pleasant thing to see the phone improving with these kinds of updates. I want to talk about quirks that this phone has that you should be aware of. I have to say these quirks are before the latest update. This update just happened literally half an hour ago, so I haven't had a chance to test out whether this specific single quirk is still persisting. But as of last week, when people call me on this phone with some frequency, they would not be able to hear me. And usually the workaround is you have to restart the phone, which is kind of annoying having to do that. Other workarounds that I've found to the people can't hear you when they call you is to use a Bluetooth headset, or somehow when you're calling them on WhatsApp or your communication app of your choice, they can hear you. It doesn't always happen. It happens sometimes. I don't know why. Maybe it's been fixed now with the latest update. I haven't tested it out yet. But I hope that someone from Fairphone actually sees this. Please fix this particular quirk and bug. I don't understand why and when it happens, but please fix it. That's about the only really annoying thing I have to say about this phone, and there are workarounds for that. All right, so there you have it, a review of a very rare phone, a sustainably built phone because it's built in a modular way, and because the resources that went into this phone are either sustainable, aka recycled materials, or ethically sourced, and um, other things like modular, self built with user replaceable components. Those are all things that make this phone sustainable. And if you're into sustainability, this is a good phone to make, always a good conversation starter. And I hope Fairphone makes more phones, specifically for the United States market in the future. Yeah, so there you have it. Bye.